too cold. Give a hand. Okay, so I'm going to preface this little rant with a bit of background on what I've been doing over the past, what month is it now? I don't know, the past sort of 6 to 8 months. I've been messing around with diet quite a bit, and my nutrition has become something I've been experimenting with quite a lot, because I kind of got into a bad place nutritionally, and I didn't have very good metabolic pathways, which basically meant that I was, gaining weight, I was feeling lethargic, my general health just wasn't very good. And so I obviously realized that something had to definitely change there, and it was really affecting my training. Like, I wasn't really training because I didn't feel great, and it's a negative cycle. So I've done various little nutritional experiments over the past 6 to 8 months. Deer up on the hill. And those have been super successful, really successful. And some of those have been ketosis, which was ketosis is basically where you're elevating the levels of fat you're taking in, healthy fats, so your olive oils and your oils from fish and other sort of good fats like that, and you're limiting the amount of carbohydrates you're taking in. We can go into that loads more another time. The other thing I'll be doing is fasting, so intermittent fasting, and that's really when you're not doing loads of cardio and things like that. You do some fasting, and I find that really, really helps me as well. And we can go into how those things have gone another time as well. But suffice to say, both of those things really good. Now, what really brought this on, and why I'm kind of stopping at the side of the road to chat to you just now, is that at the weekend I was away riding, and it was 3 days, decent distances each day, a good bit of riding with folk that I'd never ridden with before, which is cool. And I had a great time. It was absolutely brilliant. We were up in Aviemore. It was awesome, and there'll be a video on that at some point. But what I realised now that I'm back, and it's Thursday, I've eaten so badly this week, just horrendous, just eating crap, really not good food, and it's been really high carbohydrate, very little variety, loads of processed food, loads of sugar, which is not usually what I'd eat at all, really not what I'd eat. And I was struggling to work out why. And then I realised that while I was away, I ate a traditional cyclist diet of high carbohydrate, loads of sugar, way more sugar than I'd usually eat. Because you're eating energy bars, oat bars, that kind of thing. And oat bars should be fairly alright, fairly natural materials, that kind of ingredients. It's probably a better way of saying it. I wasn't eating gels or anything like that, but your basic macronutrient profiles of loads and loads of carbs, bit of protein, not that much fat, and did that for 3 days. I just same as everyone else, had cake when we got back from rides, because for some reason that's something cyclists do. And this week I just haven't been able to eat anything else. I've just been eating absolute junk. And it's so difficult, because I just want to go back to eating what I was doing before. I'm it's cold. Winter is definitely coming. I just want to go back to eating what I was eating before, because that was really working for me. Really working for me. I was getting good results. I dropped a lot of weight, but in a good way. I was just cutting down on body fat, and I just want to get back to that. But for some reason, it just wasn't happening. Now, there's a couple of things I've been thinking about that could realistically be some of the reasons. That's my scabby car that I'm getting rid of behind me. There's a couple of things I think could be the reasons. Oh, weird. What are these guys up to? It's like a spider tryst going on down here. Weird. I don't know what those guys are up to. One of the reasons I think that from some of my research, what I've come up with is, one of the things is your gut microbiome. And so the bacteria that's in your gut that sort of fills all of that space down there, and actually breaks down most of the food, and extracts a lot of the nutrients from it, that fluctuates and varies based on what you're eating. And some of that is heavily involved in sugar breakdown. And there is some research that I've read about and listened to recently, which is basically going over the ideas that what bacteria in your gut influences your cravings and what you really want to eat. And by eating some of that stuff, you will then increase levels of that bacteria, and therefore you'll increase the amount that you want to eat that stuff, which is a bit of a negative cycle. So that's one of the things that I think could be influencing it. The other is just that it's easy. Like, your body's like, oh, this is easy, we can get loads of energy from this stuff super quickly. You're not supposed to be able to get energy that quickly. Like, processed carbohydrates are like, they're not how you're supposed to absorb things. And I think it sort of hijacks your body's cravings and just basically points you in the direction of more of that food. And that's all you really want to eat. It's so bad. And I don't feel good. Like, I feel rubbish. Like, I feel like I've gained about, I don't know, like loads. I feel bloated, which makes it sound like some sort of Activia advert. It's not an Activia advert. I'm not selling you yogurt. But like, I just feel like my belly is just like, whereas before it really wasn't. I was actually feeling trim, I think is the term. Which just gets me, like, it gets you down. See, when you've like had good results with something and you're feeling on it, you feel fit, you feel healthy, and then you have this like negative slip. It just makes you feel so bad, like mentally, like in here, you start to doubt yourself and you start to really get down on your progress and what you've been doing, and you just start to do the bad thing more. Like, you kind of notice that things have kind of gone negative, and then you just go, let's just keep going with that then, and you just charge off in the wrong direction instead of going like, okay, I'm starting to go that way, let's turn around and go that way. It just doesn't do that. It's complex. It's really complex, and a lot of the modern research that's coming out now, i.e. the stuff that's not funded by sugar-based companies, looking at you, Coca-Cola, a lot of the research that's coming out now is starting to sort of shed light on some of the really interesting stuff around gut bacteria, around carbohydrate levels and processed carbohydrates, and what effect it does have on the body. And so it's a bit of a minefield when you do start wandering into it. For the most part, eat things which don't have food labels, i.e. stuff that you could have just picked or killed in its current form, and don't eat too much carbs, because you don't need to. That's essentially what I'm coming back to. But the real takeaway from this is, I'm like, I just need to do something different when I'm riding. Like, if I'm going mountain biking, I just need to eat more of the diet that I would like to eat when I'm not riding, rather than just kind of going, oh, we're going mountain biking, let's get all those like energy bars out and just start chowing down on those guys, and eating bad food just because I'm riding. I don't need to. I don't need to, and that's a kind of habit thing, which I need to break. So anyway, that's my observations from going riding for a weekend. I don't know if that makes any sense to you. I don't know if you've experienced anything like that. If you have, hit me up in the comments below. It'd be good to have a bit of a chat about it, because it's something that's kind of, I've noticed sort of subconsciously before, I think, that when I'm doing loads of riding, my diet switches. It's when I'm riding. Like, see, if I'm, away doing loads of CrossFit or like meeting up folk doing that, I don't get the same problems, because I don't associate that sport or that activity with poor diet. I associate it with really good diet, because it's one of the main pillars of what CrossFit's all about, is about good nutrition. So I don't associate CrossFit with bad nutrition. I associate cycling with bad nutrition. And that's like hanging out with a hanging out with a friend who's a bad influence. I'm not going to start hanging out with that friend. I'm just going to convince that friend to not be a bad person or bad sport. In fact, cycling's not a bad sport. I think it's just it's got an interesting relationship with food. Rant over. We'll chat about this again sometime. So yeah, hit me up in the comments below if you've had any experience with what I've just been talking about with our nutrition and cycling. Like this video if you liked what I was ranting about more like, and hit subscribe, and we'll see if we can get some answers to some of these problems. I'm hoping in the near future to organise a couple of interviews with people from outside the mountain bike world who are experts in their fields in relation to fitness and nutrition. So hit me up in the comments if you'd like to see some of that, and I'll see if I can make it happen. Alright, catch you later guys.